Good morning, friends. Greetings and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That's why we're here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 30 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It's a renewing system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, we are here for you on The Bright Side. We welcome your calls. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you have questions about formulations, ingredients, the longevity products, or any products, skin health questions, if you have a comment or if you have a success story you'd like to share, we love hearing those. 844-236-6010 is our number today and every day on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised on the program or recommended on the program, please head over to my website, brightsideben.com, or also my blog, pharmacistben.com and criticalhealthnews.com. We blog regularly and have news stories up at both websites. Also videos up at criticalhealthnews.com. Lots of videos, actually. I'm going to be doing one on the ketogenic diet, another one on the ketogenic diet later today, so you want to check criticalhealthnews.com. You can also get on our newsletter mailing list at criticalhealthnews.com if you're interested in keeping up with my blog posts. You can purchase longevity products off the websites as well, or you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. And make sure you ask them about joining the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $25 fee. You can start yourself a longevity business and help change lives while you make some money, a little bit of money, or a lot of money. Some folks are making thousands of dollars a month, numerous thousands of dollars, $10,000, $20,000 a month. Some folks, $30,000 a month for that matter. Or you can make a little bit of money. You can make a couple $100s a month if you so desire. And of course, you can help change lives while you're doing it with nutritional supplements. A lot of people have not even heard about nutritional supplements, or certainly aren't aware of the power of nutritional supplementation. And these are all folks who can benefit from you and your business and your knowledge. If you're interested in starting a business that can help change lives, call the phone team at 866-735-2470. And if you're interested in our Truth Skin Health products, Truth 5% Retinol Gel, Truth Serum, Truth Balm, or Truth Omega-6 Healing Cream, you want to go to truthtreatments.com. I also blog on skin health issues at truthtreatments.com. And check out our Facebook page, The Truth with Ben. Got blog posts up on our Facebook page there as well. And also periodically we do coupons and giveaways at The Truth with Ben. That's my Facebook page for my skin health products as well as skin health subject matter that I blog on. Okay. We are talking about fibers and sugars. Fibers are a type of sugar. All of this has to do with the ketogenic diet, believe it or not, because fiber is so important if you're going to be eating more fat. If you're going to be eating more fat, if you're going to go ketogenic, there's things you got to do if you want to leverage or if you really want to exploit the power of the ketogenic diet, which is, in my opinion, the way we should be eating. High fat, low carb, moderate protein. I talked to a gal a couple days ago, and she said that her husband went on the ketogenic diet and he lost 25 pounds, but his cholesterol went up. And his cholesterol went up significantly. Now, I don't really think cholesterol is that big a deal. Blood cholesterol is that big a deal. But you don't want large jumps in things. If there's a large jump in your chemistry, even if it's the chemistry of an ordinarily benign molecule like cholesterol is not just benign, it's an important molecule. But if it jumps really high, that means something's going on. And you want to know what's going on in the body that would make cholesterol levels jump. His cholesterol levels went up 100 points. He lost 25 pounds, though, but then his cholesterol levels went up. So I asked her what he was doing, and turns out that this gentleman was trying to go ketogenic by eating lots of bacon and lots of eggs. Now, it's true, bacon is a good source of fat, and eggs are also a good source of fat, but they're also high protein. And you got to be careful with the protein if you're going to go ketogenic, if you're really going to maximize the benefits of the ketogenic diet. Why? Well, protein is a building substance. And if you're not working out, or you're not exercising, or perhaps recovering, or growing, if you're not utilizing that protein very efficiently gets turned into sugar and then into fat. And also, when your sugar goes up, your blood sugar goes up, your cholesterol could go up. So I told this gentleman, I told his wife, that he shouldn't be eating so many high-protein foods. You got to watch your protein if you're going to go ketogenic. You got to watch your carbs, and you got to watch your protein. Carbs, you got to be pretty much at zero. Well, not quite zero, but maybe 10%, 20% of your calories coming from carbohydrates. That's very little carbohydrates. If you're going to go ketogenic effectively, you want maybe 4 or 5 tablespoonfuls of carbohydrates a day. That's not a lot of carbs. You can double that with protein, maybe 10 tablespoons, somewhere along that, 6 to 10 tablespoons of protein a day, which is not a lot of protein. Certainly more than carbs, but it's not a lot of protein. You can't go crazy on the eggs and the bacon if you want to go ketogenic. They are high fat, but they're also high protein. So the trick to being effective, if you're going to exploit or leverage the power of the ketogenic diet, is the high fat in combination with, that's important, in combination with low carb, moderate protein. That is maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons of carbohydrates a day and maybe twice as much on the protein. The combination is what gives you the benefits. The combination of low-fat, moderate protein along with, low-carb, moderate protein along with high fat. And then there's also nutrients that you can use. We're going to talk about niacin later on. Niacin is one of the all-time great fat metabolizing nutrients. Niacin's been shown to lower blood cholesterol, lower blood fats. It's important for helping the body process sugar. And we're going to talk about that later. We've been spending a lot of time talking about fiber for lowering blood fats. If you are going to go ketogenic, you want to make sure that you got a good source of fiber. I like flax fiber or chia seed fiber. Beta-glucan is a fiber. We talked about that. That's a medicinal type of fiber. Most fibers are not going to have the medicinal properties of beta-glucan. Before we ended the program yesterday, I told you I was going to talk about another really interesting fiber that's not exactly a fiber, but close enough. We're going to call it a soluble fiber. Instead of glucose, like beta-glucan is made up of glucose. This fiber is made up of another kind of sugar called fucose. Instead of glucose, it's got fucose. Now, that may be an odd-sounding kind of sugar, and probably a lot of folks haven't heard of fucose, and that's because when we think of sugar, we always think of glucose. Or sometimes we'll think of table sugar, which is sucrose, or maybe perhaps fructose. Fructose, glucose, and sucrose are the main sugars that everybody thinks about. Sucrose being table sugar, which is a combination of glucose and fructose. Fructose being fruit sugar, which diabetics know about. Fructose is not benign. It's got some problems associated with it. And then, of course, everybody knows about glucose. That's your standard sugar. So when most of us think about sugars, we think about sucrose, glucose, and fructose. Those are the major sugars. But there's actually 8 different essential sugars. They're called essential sugars, or some folks will call them glyconutrients. These sugars, and there's 8 of them, are very fascinating, and they are involved in lots of different places in biochemistry. They're combined to form polysaccharides. They're mixed with proteins to form something called glycoproteins. They're just phenomenally functional in the body, and it's important that we know what these things are if we're going to really leverage health, and especially if we're going to leverage health from supplements and from food. So you got 8 of them, and fucose is one of them. We're going to talk about that one. We're going to talk about strings of fucose here, but I want to get into these 8 different essential sugars or glyconutrients before we get into fucose and this really interesting soluble fiber that's made from fucose. We'll do that when we come back from our break. You're listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back right after this. Back on the bright side. Got lines open for you, 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about anything we're talking about here today, fiber, glycoproteins, mannose. We're going to talk about mannose here in a sec. Love this stuff. It's actually a company called Manitech, the multi-level company that discovered the power of these glyconutrients and started selling them in a network marketing fashion. It became pretty big, actually. Dr. Ben Carson is famous for endorsing or being part of the Manitech company. Manitech is nothing more than a network marketing company that sells glycoproteins and glycoprotein supplements. These days they sell other things too, but just goes to show you how powerful these things are. Manitech became a pretty big company just by selling polysaccharides, glycoproteins, these substances that are made from these so-called glyconutrients. So, got 8 of these things. 8 essential nutritional sugars, 8 essential glyconutrients. First one is mannose, as I said. Mannose is probably considered the most important of these nutritional sugars. It's found in cranberries. And this is one of the reasons why cranberry juice is considered to be the main non-medical strategy or non-medical supplement, I guess, for dealing with urinary tract infections. It turns out that mannose, the sugar mannose, has an ability to slime away E. coli bacteria that can cause UTI. So if you've ever drank cranberry juice to get rid of your urinary tract infection, you are taking advantage of the power of mannose. Mannose is found in lots of different fruits, although cranberries are probably one of nature's best sources of mannose. It's absorbed in the upper part of the intestine, but very little mannose is metabolized or broken down, and that makes it an effective sweetener for diabetics, or I should say effective sugar for diabetics. It's not necessarily all that sweet, and that's a problem. You can't really use it as a sweetener, but you can use it as a medicine if you're a diabetic. As I said, for urinary tract infections and bladder infections, if you have a UTI, you go to the doctor, you're probably going to get an antibiotic, which may help you in the short run, but it's certainly not going to help you in the long run because of antibiotic resistance and because of killing off probiotics in the gut. And avoiding antibiotics at all costs, unless you absolutely need one, is highly recommended. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but a couple weeks ago, the FDA actually banned the use of antibiotics in topical products, in some topical products, topical soaps, actually, particularly an antibiotic substance called triclosan. Antibiotic resistance is real, and it is a serious, serious problem. Now, more than likely, they're going to come up with a way of killing bacteria that doesn't involve antibiotics. That may be 10 years away, or 5 or 10 years away. I was just reading how they're looking at using viruses to kill bacteria. That doesn't sound like a good idea, but that's the latest strategy to deal with antibiotic resistance, using viruses to kill bacteria rather than antibiotic substances. Apparently bacteria don't mutate in response to viruses. In any case, if you want to avoid antibiotics and you have a urinary tract infection, you might want to think about drinking some cranberry juice or using mannose. You can actually buy mannose powder or mannose capsules at a health food store. Take about a half a teaspoonful of mannose powder in a glass of water every 2 hours for a day or two, maybe 8 to 10 glasses of mannose water per day. Mannose is anti-inflammatory. Mannose is involved in the production of both anti-inflammatory and inflammatory chemicals. It's involved in the inflammation system. Mannose is anti-cancer. It slows down metastases. It's anti-inflammatory. It's been shown to lower blood fats, and it may even lower blood sugar levels in diabetics, although I was just reading some conflicting evidence about mannose. Now, scientists believe that mannose levels may actually indicate diabetes risk. This is an article that was published in the June 24th issue of Cell Metabolism. Scientists have found that they can measure the mannose in the blood of both lean and obese people and identify if they have an increased risk for type 2 diabetes. That's according to scientists at the Institute of Technology in Stockholm. So researchers found that subjects with high mannose levels have a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. So until recently, it's been thought that mannose was safe for diabetics, but maybe not, at least according to this article in Cell Research. And in any case, mannose isn't very sweet, as I say, so you're not going to probably be using it in your coffee or your tea, but as a capsule or as a powder for urinary tract infections, that might be something that you want to consider, although I have to say I haven't seen great results eliminating urinary tract infections with mannose. A second essential sugar, glyconutrient, is something called galactose. Galactose is found in milk. It's converted into lactose. Lactose is made up of two sugars. It's made up of glucose and galactose. It does have a somewhat sweet taste, galactose does, and you'll see it in power bars sometimes. The Atkins power bars use galactose, I noticed. A lot of low-carb, so-called low-carb snacks and power bars will use galactose as a sweetener because it has a somewhat sweet taste. It's sweeter than mannose. It's not as sweet as glucose, but it has a somewhat sweet taste. It's broken down slowly. It doesn't stimulate insulin as much as table sugar, which makes it an effective sweetener for folks worried about their blood sugar, although, as I say, it's not as sweet as ordinary sugar. It's probably about a third as sweet as ordinary sugar, which is a blend of glucose and fructose. Like mannose, galactose has anti-cancer properties, which is interesting for sugar. We always hear that cancer is a sugar feeder, but these glyconutrients actually are anti-cancer. They're actually slow down tumor growth and metastases. Galactose has been shown to improve the healing of wounds. It has anti-inflammatory properties. It improves calcium absorption from the intestine. A 1983 article that was published in the journal Ophthalmic Research showed that galactose can be protective against cataracts, which again is interesting considering the fact that ordinary sugar is considered to be a cause of cataract formation. Galactose, as I say, is found in milk. Mother's milk is high in galactose, so it's thought that galactose has something to do or plays a role in the growth and the development of tissue. Galactose is also important for neural functioning and for brain functioning. There's some studies that show that it may improve memory function, according to Dr. Emil Mondoa, who's done a lot of research on the glyconutrients. Dr. Mondoa actually has a really cool book if you're interested in learning more about this. Really easy to read book, kind of a layperson's book called Sugars That Heal, The New Healing Science of Glyconutrients. Dr. Mondoa says that galactose levels tend to be lower in patients who have lupus and rheumatoid arthritis and other autoimmune diseases. If you're wondering where you get these things, by the way, galactose and mannose and some of these other sugars that we'll talk about, fruits and veggies, that's going to be your best source. Dairy will have some as well, especially galactose. So fruits and veggies and galactose, although you do want to be a little bit careful with the fruits, but veggies are a good source, and grains also can have some of these sugars in them as well, and then dairy is also a good source. If you've heard of glucosamine, and who hasn't heard of glucosamine, you've heard of a very important essential sugar, at least in its form, in its NAG form. NAG stands for N-acetylglucosamine. It's a type of glucosamine. It's considered to be an essential sugar, and this stuff is absolutely fabulous. In fact, next to fucose, I would have to say NAG, N-A-G, or N-acetylglucosamine, is my favorite of the essential sugars. That's because it's got all kinds of roles to play when it comes to healing, especially when it comes to healing the skin and the digestive tract. N-acetylglucosamine is a fabulous supplement to take, and you can buy it as a supplement if you're dealing with leaky gut syndrome, and if you have any chronic degenerative disease, you are dealing with leaky gut syndrome. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll take a break and come back right after this. Don't go away. Okay, we're back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got a full board, or an open board. Nobody's on the line, and now's the time to give us a shout. If you've tried to get a hold of us in the past and got a busy signal, 844-236-6010 is our number. If you have questions about any of these glyconutrients we're talking about, mannose or NAG. We'll talk about NAG tomorrow a lot. I love this stuff. N-acetylglucosamine. It's similar to glucosamine, which pretty much everybody's heard of. N-acetylglucosamine, NAG, NAG, is a building substance, particularly for the skin and the intestine. It is one of the all-time great supplements for folks who are dealing with high hyaluronic acid, and it also is a building block for making high hyaluronic acid. I'm starting to see all these commercials now for high hyaluronic acid creams and lotions. I've been using high hyaluronic acid for decades in my topical products, but only to moisturize and soften the surface of the skin. That's pretty much all you're going to get from a topical high hyaluronic acid product. So if you're one of those folks who's emailed me or talked to me about using high hyaluronic acid in a topical skin product, you should know that you're not really going to get much benefit from topical high hyaluronic acid. It's really important stuff inside the skin, and there are dermatologists and plastic surgeons who will actually inject it underneath the skin. But the best way to get high hyaluronic acid is to make your own high hyaluronic acid, and a building block, or the building block for high hyaluronic acid, is NAG, N-A-G. So you can make your own high hyaluronic acid or support the production of your own natural high hyaluronic acid by taking NAG supplements. Aloe vera, by the way, is a good source of NAG. As all, pretty much veggies are going to have a little bit, anyway, of NAG in it. This is one reason why vegetable juices can be very helpful for folks who are dealing with Crohn's disease or celiac disease or intestinal health problems. Really, it'd be very helpful for all of us, vegetable juices, but particularly if you're dealing with digestive health issues, the NAG content and some of the other sugars that are found in vegetable juices can be very healing for the digestive tract. Love NAG. We'll talk about that tomorrow, and then we'll talk about the rest of the essential sugars, including fucose, which is a building block for making one of Youngevity's most important products, and one of my favorite of the Youngevity products. We will talk about that as we continue talking about the sugars and fiber and the ketogenic diet on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open for you. Hang tight if you're on hold. Just want to talk about a couple of things that I read that I think are interesting. This is an article from Alzheimer's Research, the journal Alzheimer's Research. Alzheimer's stemmed but not stopped, say experts. Well, isn't that interesting? They can figure out how to slow down the production of Alzheimer's disease, but they cannot figure out how to stop it. That's because Alzheimer's disease is a degenerative condition of the brain. It is simply nothing more than the brain falling apart the way the rest of our body falls apart. And that's why you can't stop it with a drug. You can't stop it with a vaccine. You can't stop it with anything that the modern medical model can provide. But it doesn't matter, because once we understand that Alzheimer's disease is simply a degenerative condition of the brain akin to arthritis or leaky gut syndrome or any other degenerative condition, it's arthritis of the brain, it's osteoporosis of the brain. You pick the degenerative disease, you name the degenerative disease and apply it to the brain, and you got Alzheimer's disease. It's simply the brain falling apart. If it happens a little bit to the back of the brain, you get Parkinson's disease. It doesn't really matter what they call it, and it doesn't really matter what the specifics are. It matters that the brain is falling apart, and it falls apart for the same reason any other part of the body falls apart. Because it's starved, because it's hypoxic, low levels of oxygen, and because it is toxic, particularly with sugar. And that's why today researchers will tell you that Alzheimer's disease is type 3 diabetes. This is what I've been talking about for decades. There aren't a lot of things that go wrong in the body, and Alzheimer's disease is so tragic. My dad is dealing with it, and I'm dealing with it, and everybody he knows is dealing with it. That's one of the things about Alzheimer's, is it's not just the patient, it's everybody who's taking care of the patient. And what makes Alzheimer's so tragic, as anybody who's dealing with the condition can tell you, or taking care of somebody who has the condition will tell you, is that you're looking at the person, but they're not there. You don't even get closure. It's like they're dead, but they're not dead. And it's terrible, and it is so tragically unnecessary. If you know anybody who has Alzheimer's disease, start to focus on every single one of the principles that we talk about on this program. Everything. That means stabilizing the blood sugar, first of all, using selenium and the sweeties, and keeping sugar intake low. Using the B complex and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, thiamine, the Ultimate Niacin. There's a zillion strategies for stabilizing blood sugar. Then you want to work on the gut. Make sure your Alzheimer's patient is using liquid nutrition. Make sure your Alzheimer's patient is not ingesting lots of calories. Make sure your Alzheimer's patient is staying away from foods that cause digestive distress or food allergens. Make sure your Alzheimer's patient is eating less calories. And thirdly, make sure your Alzheimer's patient is breathing correctly. Make sure your Alzheimer's patient is practicing slow, deep breathing techniques and activating the parasympathetic, the relaxation, rest, and digest nervous system by using hot water, immersion in hot water, I should say, showers and hot baths, massage, Reiki, yoga, meditation, in addition to deep breathing techniques, relaxing the musculoskeletal system by doing progressive relaxation, where you start with your toes and work all the way up your body, progressively contracting and then relaxing all the various muscles. That, by the way, is a great way to fall asleep if you're having problems with insomnia. This is not rocket science, folks. This is very simple, and it doesn't require a medical intervention. These are all strategies that we can employ ourselves. If you know anybody dealing with Alzheimer's disease, have them listen to the last 5 minutes of this program, and you can make a huge, huge difference. Of course, getting on a good nutritional supplement program is always a good idea. Okay, let's see. Let's take a phone call here, and then we'll get to a couple more of these interesting articles. Bob in Minneapolis, welcome to the Bright Side. What's up, ma'am? How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Ben.
Are you the Bob I just saw? Bob at the convention? No.
Nope.
Different Bob.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
What's going on, Bob?
Well, my question is twofold. Basically, looking at the ingredient stack on food label.
Yes, good idea to do that.
Long-chain sugars. Is there from what I understand listening to you, if I'm interpreting this correctly, is that the long-chain sugars, just the body doesn't really break them down. It just uses it as a fiber. It doesn't break it down into sugar necessarily. Or are there some that do? And that folds into the question, when you look at the ingredient stack, if that particular long-chain sugar is listed towards the beginning of the stack versus the end of the stack, is there a point where there's too much of a concentration, or too much of a good thing of a fiber like this? And I'm thinking like maltodextrin. Then in addition to that, is there a simple way to identify maybe suffixes or prefixes of inert organic substances that maybe you don't want to ingest in your body? I'm thinking, obviously one being potassium sorbate and maybe sodium dioxide, but as a general rule,
can't tell.
You can't know.
There is no fixed suffix or prefix protocol for assessing whether something is something you want to avoid. You can't really do it that way. You got to know the chemistry of the stuff. You asked a bunch of questions there. I don't even know where to begin. Maltodextrin, though, that's really interesting stuff. I get a lot of questions about maltodextrin. You want to hang on, Bob? Guys, we got to take a break. We'll finish up when we come back. Okay? Don't go away. Yep. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open for you if you're interested in checking out our Truth Skin Health products, if you're dealing with hyperpigmentation, dark spots, or accelerated aging, or acne blemishes, or if you're just looking for an overall anti-aging tonic to prevent the formation of wrinkles and fine lines. You want our Truth 5% retinol gel. Retinol is your go-to active ingredient for anti-aging along with vitamin C, and you'll get both vitamin C and retinol in our Truth 5% retinol gel. You also get premium lipophilic, fat-soluble, stabilized, moisturizing vitamin C in our Truth Balm, Truth Serum, and also in our omega-6 healing cream, and never any emulsifiers, waxes, water, fillers, oils, silicone, preservatives, fragrances, perfumes, and nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want in any of our Truth Skin Health products. That's the way I formulate, and that's the way everybody should formulate. You should only pay for what you're using. Check out our products at truthskinhealth.com. That's truthskinhealth.com. Okay, 844-236-6010 is our number. We're talking to Bob about sugars. Let's get Bob up here. Bob, you there?
Yeah. Hey, Ben, can I add one more sugar for you to mention?
Yeah.
One more long-chain sugar commonly found in ingredient stacks is xanthan sugar, xanthan gum.
Well, that's not really sugar. I guess it is a sugar. No, you're right. It is. It is a sugar. It is a sugar. You're right. I apologize for that. It's just not a sweet sugar. And that's an interesting distinction, sweet sugars versus non-sweet sugars. A lot of these things that we talk about as being long chains, even though they're sugars, they don't have a sweet taste. They're not broken down the same way as ordinary sugars are. Now, you asked a whole bunch of questions there. I'm not even sure where to begin, but the maltodextrin one is very interesting because I get all these letters about maltodextrin. Let's be clear here. Maltodextrin is nothing more than a long chain of glucose, okay? Just like beta-glucan is. But maltodextrin is partially broken down. It's said to be hydrolyzed. So So it's kind of broken down, and it's not used as a fiber. It's used more as a thickener, excuse me, and also to provide a certain kind of mouth feel to products. Mouth feel is a very important component of powdered substances like the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, for example, because when you add these powdered substances to water and you drink them, there has to be a certain texture to the fluid in order to make it palatable, and maltodextrin gives that fluid a texture. Technically it's called mouth feel, and that's really the main role for maltodextrin in these powdered drinks and in drinks in general. But maltodextrin is not a problem. I don't know why people are freaked out about maltodextrin. It's nothing more than glucose. It will raise your blood sugar very slightly because it can be broken down, unlike other glucans or strings of sugar like beta-glucan, which is not broken down. But it's really not going to have a very large effect on blood sugar. It does come from corn, and I know corn is a major GMO crop, but by the time it's maltodextrin, there's probably not much of the GMO proteins left, although maybe there are, depending on how purified it is, I suppose. There may be some of these GMO proteins that are left over, but probably not. I wouldn't worry about maltodextrin at all, and I certainly wouldn't freak out about the fact that it comes from GMO corn. Not that GMOs are, we should be freaking out about GMOs, but there's not much we can do about it at this point. But I wouldn't worry about the GMO aspect of maltodextrin, and I wouldn't worry about the sugar aspect of maltodextrin either. I hope I answered that question for you.
Even if it's listed at the top.
It should never be. It will never be at the beginning of an ingredient tag. Where did you see a product that had at the beginning of the ingredient tag?
Well, I don't recall right now, but
can you? I'm having a hard time hearing you, Bob.
It would spike your insulin then, wouldn't it?
Say one more time, Bob. I didn't hear you.
If it was at the top of the ingredient stack,
it'll spike your insulin. Yeah, it'll spike your insulin a little bit. I mean, if you did straight maltodextrin, you'd probably spike your insulin. It is a high glycemic index. It's got a high glycemic index numbers, so it's not all that spiky, if I could use that term. But I don't know why it would ever be at the beginning of an ingredient deck. It's usually in products at like 0.1 or 0.5% kind of thing.
Okay. What about xanthan gum?
Same deal. Xanthan gum is thickener. It's used in tiny quantities. If you put, and I've been using xanthan gum in my skincare formulations for 30 years. I know a lot about xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is actually made from bacteria. It's a fermented product, and it's a great thickener for shampoos. But if you use too much, it creates this jelly, kind of gooey, snotty quality. So xanthan gum is usually only used in skincare products at less than 2%, max 2%. I don't know of any that are over 2%, usually 0.1 to 0.5%. And then in foods, it's usually used at that kind of concentration as well, 0.1 to 0.5%, because any more than that, it will change really dramatically change the texture of the food. So you'll see specks of it sometimes in food products or candy bars or something like that, but not very much at all. And it's not going to have much, at the rate, at the concentrations it's used, it's not going to have very much of an effect on blood sugar. Bob, I got to move. Is there anything else?
Yeah, how many long-chain sugars are there that would break down into sugar then?
Zillions. There's tons of these things. There's just various combinations is the thing, but in nature there's just tons of them. We're not even going to be. I'm going to talk about some of the major ones, but there's tons of them. Okay, Bob. Thank you so much, man. Have a great day, buddy. Good to talk to you. All right, let's go to Irene in San Diego. What's up, Irene? Welcome to the bright side.
Hi, Ben. Let me just do a quick testimonial. I have your skincare products, and I've noticed a difference, and so has a friend of mine.
The Truth Skin Health products?
Yeah.
What are you using?
I use the serum in the morning, and then at night I use the balm.
Okay, nice. And how long have you been using them?
I've been concentratingly using them for 3 weeks now, and
nice.
I think I bought them like 6 months ago, and I kind of, it didn't really, yeah.
Yeah, and now you started using them, and you're noticing results in 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's the good news. Well, a couple things. First of all, you're not interacting with preservatives or fragrances or anything toxic in there. It's all just the good stuff. But here's the great thing about it, Irene. As the weeks and the months progress, the results are going to accrue. You're going to get better and better results over time. So if you're noticing results now, wait till you see what happens in 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, all the way down the road. That's where the benefits really get going. Thanks for the testimonial. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome.
What's going on?
Here's the deal. It's my mother. She's 82. She's in great shape for 82, but she was struck by lightning when she was like 13 or something like that, and she's never been able to sleep well. And
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How was she struck by? That's kind of a fascinating story there. She was just walking around, all of a sudden lightning hit her.
Yeah, it was so long ago. I only heard about it maybe 10 years ago. So.
And she hasn't been able to sleep since? She has had insomnia since?
Yeah, and I guess it's a common side effect of being hit by lightning. That's what they say.
Boy, can you imagine what that must be like? Holy moly. That'll change your life, I suppose. Was it really like a jolt where she got knocked out kind of thing?
No, I don't think she got knocked out. I don't think.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
Hey, did you ever hear this thing called ball lightning?
Say that again?
Have you ever heard of ball lightning?
No. I mean,
ball lightning is when the lightning lands on the ground and forms a ball and chases people.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine that? I mean, it sounds funny. I'm sure it's not funny if a ball of lightning is chasing you around. But anyway, so here's the deal. Sounds like she's got an amplified stress response. How old's your mom?
82.
Okay, what else is going on? There's something else. Got to be other stuff going on.
Well, she's like me. I mean, we both have the same system. She tends to be constipated. She had a fibroid removed when she was 39. And
okay, so she's got some stuff going on. Here's the deal. You want to work with the hormone cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone. So you want to start practicing cortisol lowering techniques. I'm going to give you a bunch of them because we got about a minute and we're going to run out of time.
Sure.
So first of all, oxygen is the most important way to lower your cortisol. Deep breathing, slow, and I think I said this yesterday, I'll say it again, slow, deep, rhythmic breathing. The rhythm is important. Actually, I didn't say it on this program. I was on another program. So let me just go into that real quick. When you're breathing, you want to breathe slowly. This is very important. If you breathe too fast, you'll actually activate the stress response, and that's what you don't want to do. So you got to breathe in slowly, and you got to do it through the nose. In through the nose and out through the nose. And you always want to exhale a little bit more than you inhale. And when you're breathing slowly, you want to make sure you're breathing all the way into the bottom of your belly. You got to practice your belly going out as you're breathing in, and your belly coming in as you blow out the air. And you got to practice that because that's not natural. So belly goes out as you inhale, almost like a balloon filling up. And then the belly comes in as you exhale, like you're squeezing the balloon, and you got to practice that. And then the third point, after slowly and deeply, is rhythmically. The rhythm is where you fall asleep. The rhythm is where you relax the body. The rhythm is where you lower your blood pressure. The rhythm is where you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. It's like remember those old movies where they would have the watch and the hypnotist guy would say you were getting sleepy while you looked at the watch, going in a pendulum kind of left-right motion? It's the same idea. Rhythm activates the healing nervous system, and rhythm will open up the airways to increase oxygenation, and rhythm will help your mom fall asleep. So slowly, deeply, and rhythmically with her breathing. Of course, keeping her sugar intake down and correcting any digestive problems is going to be key, but we're just out of time, Irene. If you call back tomorrow, I can finish up with you. I apologize for that. Thank you so much for listening, friends. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Check out our skin health products at truthtreatments.com. Retinol 5% gel, Truth Balm, Truth Serum, and Truth Omega-6 Healing Cream. Have yourselves a wonderful, awesome, beautiful, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.